Hello everyone, it's Sheila back again. Welcome to my channel. I'm having a cup of tea. As you can see, knitting keeps me from unravelling. And it's true, that saying. But I'll put that cup down for a minute. I didn't have time to do a video yesterday. I was at my granddaughter's and didn't have much time in the morning. I did do a little one on my other channel for to try to get the lemon sweater tutorial that I was doing to try to get that finished. Well, I have it here. I've actually got the neckband on. I'm doing a little bit of a tutorial. I've shown how I stitch the shoulder. I stitch one shoulder and then pick up the stitches all around for the neck. I think I have 108. It's 36, 18, 27 and 27. I think it's 108 stitches I picked up, doing the 2 purl 2 rib on it. And I'm not sure how many rows I'm going to do, because I think I might bring it, instead of, I normally do them like the one I'm wearing, and that's around about here where I bring it up to, but I think I might bring it up a little bit further because it is for the colder weather, and I think I could do with my neck. I do have arthritis in my spine and it does affect my neck, the back of my neck, terrible, the cold weather like. So I think I might bring it up, not quite a polo, but more like a turtle. So that's a little bit more of that done. I'll be able to get it, when I finish the neck, I'll be able to sew it up, but I will do on the tutorial and show how I sew it up as well. So that's one thing in my bag. I'll put that down on the floor. In this bag here, this is where I keep all my whips in. This was sent to me by Sandra. We haven't seen much of Sandra lately because she has had a little bit of a health problem in her family, and it's private to her, so I'm not seeing any more. But she did send me this and it was very handy. I've got all sorts in here. I've even got little pockets on the side here. I'm going to count these up one day. But these are all the labels of the balls of wool I've been knitting. That's on one side. I think I started saving these from about June last year, I think. I've got a lot in the other side as well, but I haven't got them all tied together, but there's a lot on that side as well. I might count them up and see how many balls of wool I've actually knitted. I'll have to go back on my some of my videos to see exactly when I did start saving them, because I'm not sure. I've got a lot that's not in there as well, yeah. But anyway, like saying, this was a bag that Sandra sent me, and it was one of the best things she could have ever sent to me. It's come in very handy. But I'm going to show you what's in it anyway. Seeing as I'm nearly finished the lemon one, I'm starting another one. I've only started the rib. I haven't quite finished the rib on it, and I haven't actually made my mind up what pattern I'm going to do on it yet. But this was some of the wool that Derek sent to me. That's another, the lemon was what Derek sent to me, and this is what he sent as well. So I'm only knitting sweaters for myself at the moment, being winter. I don't wear cardigans in the winter if I can help it. It all depends how quick I get my washing done. If I run out of sweaters, I'll wear cardigans then. But this is going to be a sweater, and I'll let you all know what pattern I'm going to do on it when I get round to it. So that's one thing. And this one here, another little one. I started this one yesterday when I went to my granddaughter's. I didn't want to take, I'm still doing the little baby ones for orders, but this is for to sell when I do it. And I'm not sure actually what size it's going to come out. I did put enough stitches on that would measure a 20-inch. But I'm not sure. The wool seems to be quite fine, and I'm not sure whether it's knitting up like normal. I didn't do a swatch. I just started knitting. I don't really do swatches for little baby ones because it doesn't matter what size they come out. If they come out small, I sell them for a smaller size, and if they come out large, I sell them for a larger size. And even if you get something larger for a baby, it'll grow into it anyway. But this was, you can't really see the pattern very well. That's the back of it. It's I've only done a few rows. I'm doing a 3x1 mock rib. That's knitting 3 stitches and purling 1 stitches, and on the wrong side I just purl across that row. That's all I'm doing for this one. But that was just something I took to my granddaughter, so I didn't want to take sort of an order down. I know what the kids are like. This was some wool that was sent to me by I think this was Kate from the last homely house. I think it was one of the bowls she sent. I've got another bowl on here with a label because I took the label off it. It is King Cole Splash double knitting. That's that one, and it looks like a lot of nice colours in it. So when I get round to knitting a bit more, I'll show you a bit more of that one. Put that down. Put that one down. And this one, this was a little blackberry one that I was doing. I'll show I've done the back. I'm still experimenting with this because it's a set-in sleeve, and I have done the back, as you can see there, worked out. What I usually do when I'm doing this is I get a bit of paper and I draw the actual shape of what I think the armhole should be, and then try to knit the stitches to match that shape. But I measure, you know what I measure on the paper, this is like 4 inches from here up to there because it's just for a 16-inch, and I do that on the paper. I measure it the 4 inches from there up to there, and then try to work out the shape. Well, that's the back. And I do this in pieces. I'll do the back and the side and then one of the sleeves to work out whether the sleeve's going to fit in properly. So that's one of the fronts, which I did to match the back, and then the sleeve. Now I've done from the armhole up to there. I'm not sure when I fold it in half and show you that's the shoulder that's going to fit into the opening I've got, and I'm not absolutely certain that it's going to be enough, whether I've done enough rows from the armhole up to the top. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch the shoulder on this one. I'm going to stitch the shoulder there and then pin this in just the way it is and see how much, because you do have to stretch when you put a set-in sleeve in. You do have to stretch the sleeve slightly, not a lot, just slightly, to fit it into the opening. That's how a set-in sleeve works. So I'm not quite sure until I pin it and see whether it's long. I'm not sure whether it's going to be long enough, but I'll find out after I've pinned it and decide. So I have started knitting the other front because it doesn't make any difference. I've got the front and the back right, but I'm not sure about the sleeve. So as this is trial and error, because I'm not used to doing set-in sleeves for very small ones. I'm only used to doing them for adults actually. I've never actually done any. I have knitted one or two from patterns years ago when my kids were little, but I've never done much. I think I did one for my granddaughter's kids. I think I did a one for them, and I don't think it come out all that right. So I still need to do a little bit experimenting with this. But I still have, after this is the fourth one of 4 little cardigans I have to do. Then I have to do a little pink one for a friend after that, and then I have another 4 little white ones. So after I finish doing my lemon sweater, I'm going to carry on with these ones and get them finished and out of the way, and then I can just concentrate on what I want to do for myself, unless I get any more little baby orders. But the only orders I will take at the moment anyway. And then when I finish those, I will be finishing this one. It was to sell, but it's already spoken for. Somebody wants to buy this when I finish it. So if anybody's after it, I'm sorry, it's gone already. So that's what I've been doing. But I also am going to tell you a little story this morning. You see, this room that I'm in, this used to be my husband's workroom. When he was alive and after the kids all left home, he used this room for a workroom. I'm going to tell you a little story from the beginning, really, from when I was first married and that. When me and my husband were first married, he's one of 4 brothers. And I think his oldest brother is a radio and television engineer. Or he was, he's retired now, naturally. And his youngest brother was a motor mechanic. And his other brother, he was just jack of all trades, he did all sorts. But anyway, when we were first married, I'm going to have a drink of my tea as well, because when I do these videos with a cup of tea, I forget it, and it's cold when I've finished. But like I said, when we were first married, we didn't have a lot of money, and I don't think we could afford a television. We couldn't afford to rent one either. So my brother-in-law, being a radio and television engineer, he knew where we could get a second-hand one. He knew a place that sold them. So we got a second-hand television, and that television never worked from the day we got it. It kept going up the creek, and I used to keep ringing up my Raymond, his name was. I used to keep ringing Raymond and asking him to come and have a look at it, and I think he got sick. And I think the last time I did ask, it was his wife, my sister-in-law, that answered the phone, and I asked her to ask him to come and have a look at the television. I went on the blink again. And my thought was, he told us where to get this from. It was his fault. But I think, like saying, I think he got sick of coming backwards and forwards, and I don't think he got the last message. So I said to my husband, you know, why don't you have a look at that television yourself? You never know, you might be able to work it out. Well, the television in those days weren't like they are these days. There were big valves and little things inside that you could put a screwdriver in, turn, and it'll make your screen where everybody on the picture was tall like that, or you could make them short and fat, and things like all different things inside that you could turn with screwdrivers and that and that. So I said to him, just have a look, you never know. I said, it could be some little component, you know, the little components that you have inside of the television. I said, it might just be one of them that's gone. I forget what you call them, the little things. Anyway, he did. He said he took the back off, and you know, the bit wasn't too happy, you know, and he was frightened to touch anything. But he worked out what one of the valves had gone, because it just wasn't lighting up properly. It was sort of flashing and on one of the valves. So he sent me down to in our town, North Shields, to get this valve and put it in, and it worked. That's what was wrong with it. And after we changed that valve, it worked quite well for quite some time. But then it started going off again, you know, little things going wrong with it. And so he started looking at it, and he started sorting. After a while, he realised, just looking at things, he could work out how they worked and what was wrong with them. And that he just didn't realise he could do these things until I forced him into it, actually. But he was a very good motor mechanic as well. My husband worked in a factory all his life. He never served his time for anything. But in all the years we were married, just because of him deciding to try to fix things himself, he found out that he could, and that he knew a lot about them, and he could fix them no trouble at all. And after a while, we never had to pay anybody to fix anything. He fixed the car if it went wrong. He fixed the washing machine if it went wrong. He'd even put a thermostat in my iron when that went wrong. And then when he come on to DVD, it wasn't DVD, it was VCRs at first. He could fix those as well. And then the DVDs and computers, and he was the one that taught me how to use a computer. I was the one he had to teach me, because he put everything he did with televisions and VCRs and any electrical information, I had to type it into. There were floppy disks and that we used in those days. There were like little disks you put in, and they called them floppy disks and that, and he could work out. I had to do all the work and work out all the repairs he did, and then had everybody in the street that we lived in, well, it's this street I'm living in now, when they all found out that he could fix televisions. We couldn't sit down in peace of a night time. There was people knocking on the door, come and have a look at the television, and some of them were rental, you know, and my husband will say to them, you know, well, they'll come and fix it tomorrow for you, you know. Oh, no, but Coronation Street's on. I'm missing Coronation Street, but I'm not a soap fan. I've never watched Coronation Street for years. The only time I ever watched it was when I lived at home with my parents. We only had one television in the house, and I had no other choice because my mother had it on. But after I got married, and you know, I never ever watched anything like that. I'm not a soap fan. But anyway, this went on for a lot of years. My husband fixing things and all that. And eventually we had to tell a lot of people, you know, that were knocking on the door that I'm not just going to get up in the middle of my tea or my lunch or something and come and fix your television or whatever it is. And they sort of took notice after a while, and they stopped bothering us so much. But when my two of my sons shared this room, and my husband put all those shelves behind. He put them, they were there for the kids, for all the things and that, the hard and that. And well, when they all left home, when all my kids left home, I had two spare rooms, didn't I? I had this room spare and a small bedroom spare, which I use as a laundry room now. I have my ironing board and iron, all my washing baskets and everything in there. But this room, my husband had all those shelves were filled with all sorts, every little component you could think of for fixing anything. He had little like cabinets with tiny little boxes, things. When you pulled them out, there was tiny little components and that. I can't remember what they were all called, capacitors and all sorts of things like that. And the whole shelves were just full of everything. Well, when he passed, I had no need for those. And I think it was after about 6 months, I decided I was going to clear this everything out of the room, and I'd sell what I could. And that's what I did. I sold, made quite a bit actually out of all. Wasn't just all these little components. He had all sorts of tools, little tools that he used for electrical things and everything. The room was just full of everything. And this bench here, it had writing all over it that he had been writing. It took me an awful lot of trouble to get all the writing off. It wasn't just a pencil, it was in pen, but I managed to clean it all eventually. But my son was helping me, and he come up, my youngest son, Ian, that's his name. And he's saying, you know, Mum, my dad will be turning in his grave, he says, when he realises what you're doing with his room. But I'm saying to Ian, I says, I've got no use for this stuff up here. I says, I'm selling what I can, and that's what I did. And it wasn't just up here. When my sons were still at home, he used to do everything like that in our outhouse. Well, the outhouse was very cold in the winter, and the floor gets wet in the winter, because it's just a single brick outhouse. It's not like insulated or anything like that. Well, he had some sort of heater in that was costing us a fortune to run, and that's where he did everything. But after all my sons left home, he had this up here for all these electrical things, and the outhouse downstairs were for all to do with the car and garden and any garden tools and all those sort of things. That's where he kept all of those, and even those I cleared a lot of stuff out of there. All I kept was the gardening stuff that I needed, and a few tools that I might need, like, you know, hammers and screwdrivers and all sorts of things like that. I sorted out what I wanted out, and my son again says, my dad, he's going to be turning in his grave, Mum. I said, I don't care, he's not here anymore, he can't use them, I'm getting rid of them all. And that's what I made quite a lot out of that. What was in that outhouse? There was one fella come. When I first started selling things, I put it on a site called Gumtree, so people had to come. I didn't have to send anything to anybody, they had to come and have a look. And this fella come in, and the whole place, the whole outhouse was just crammed. You could hardly get in. See, it's like Aladdin's cave in here. He went away with quite a lot of stuff out of the outhouse. But anyway, that was just a little story to tell you that my husband was a jack of all trades, and he didn't know that until he had to fix things himself. And it worked for us all those years, and now it works for me. And my son, when he came here and he seen all this wool up here, I says, don't you dare say anything. And that was it. It's my room now, and I do what I want with it. And that's what I'm doing here. And I'm going to need somewhere else. I've got a lot of other wool that I've had some more wool sent to me. I think I'm going to have to pile it up on the top there. I can't put any more on the bench down the bottom here, because I'll not be able to use the bit of the bench at the front. But believe it or not, at one time I used to use this bench for my sewing machine. Before all this wool started piling up, I used to have my sewing machine on there. So I have to bring my sewing machine downstairs now and put it on my table. I have a dining table and a table in the kitchen. I use the kitchen table most of the time. So that's what I have to do when I want to use my sewing machine now. But never mind, it'll get used up eventually. So that's just a little bit of what I've been up to and a little story. Oh, and by the way, before I go, we had a dusting of snow this morning. We weren't expecting it up here, but we've had it. I just hope it's gone by Thursday because I do not drive in snow. So bye for now.